What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, Sim Football Critic, and let's dive right into it, guys. We got about 20 minutes to spare, so we got to get through this as fast as we can. But I definitely want to talk about some things, man, that took place in the latest game against the Ravens. So let me pull up my notes here, guys. Forgive me. I'm not all the way fully prepared, man. I'm trying to do this real quick. So let me get my notations up here, and we'll go ahead and get started. Now, basically, guys, first thing I want to talk about, it sucks, but the first thing I definitely want to talk about is Antonio Brown. And I hate to talk about Antonio Brown, man, because he's too good of a player for us to continue to have this conversation, right? Now, what I want to talk about, man, and because now it's become slightly an issue because now, Ben Roethlisberger has had to talk about it. And let me say this, too, before I get started. And shout-outs, I can't remember his name, but I've been communicating with somebody on Facebook. I'm not going to be able to do these as much as I want to going forward as far as live, because of my schedule now. I only have the ability to do it at this time. And when I do it live, I prefer it to be later in the evening just because more people are able to see it live. But, if I can still knock it out around 1:30 or so p.m. on Tuesdays, I can. And then, days when I have to, go elsewhere on Tuesday, I'll do a pre-recorded show. But I'll try to continue to do it live because I love the interaction with you guys. But, to be honest and fair with you guys, it's during my lunch hours, so I don't have a lot of time. So we'll see how that goes because I know I've had some guys express that they want to come on to the show, and I would love to have you. It's just that the way my schedule is, I can't always pinpoint an actual time. So I appreciate you guys who are able to watch, but I at least wanted to say that. All right, so let me get back to what I was talking about as far as Antonio Brown. It's become an issue because now Ben Roethlisberger, he gets asked about it, right? He gets asked about it, and because he's asked about it, he has to talk about it. Now, after the game, everybody was saying, it's his passion. That's why he blew up on the sideline. And it's cool. We could go with that. But reporters are not going to let that be. Reporters are not going to just allow everybody to just say he's passionate. Ben does his radio show on Tuesdays, 93.7 The Fan. He's always doing that interview on Tuesday, so you knew they were going to ask, and they put him in a position where he has to talk about it. So I've seen some people say that, Big Ben is the drama queen or what have you, and I'm like, I don't look at it that way because if AB doesn't give him anything to talk about, he can't talk about it, whether you agree with Big Ben or not. But anyway, just my quick thoughts on it. Come on, AB, we need you to chill out. You're too good of a player to disrupt on the sideline like that. And I'm cool with the passion, but the part I didn't like was, Todd Haley's trying to talk to him and he snatches away from him. See, that kind of stuff, that doesn't look good. And you got young players on the team, trying to follow your lead. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't like that. I get his passion. I love Antonio Brown for what he does on the field, his work ethic, the whole nine. But we can't have those type of explosions, especially on a play where it was designed to go to the right. He ad-libbed the play and turned his drag route into like a go, which was pretty slick on Antonio Brown's part. But Ben wasn't even looking that way. Ben was looking to the right. Now, had he looked to the left and didn't throw it to Antonio Brown, different story. But I need AB to chill out on that. All right? So I just had to, speak on that real quick. And there you have it. So let's go ahead and get to the nitty-gritty of the game, man. Great game. Great game. Great win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They haven't won in Baltimore, I think it was, 5 years or so. Great win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I said in the title, the first win in Baltimore for Le'Veon Bell, so that was great. But not everything was peachy keen, man. Not everything was beautiful. I'm going to analyze it and be fair. Not everything was good, and let's talk about a couple of these things. First and foremost, still too many offensive penalties. Way too many offensive penalties. I mean, how many times were there holding calls or false starts? I was just talking about David DeCastro, saying that DeCastro is looking better this year in terms of, staying out of penalties and things like that. And here he is. Here he is in this game, gets a holding call and a false start. And see what I'm saying? You get Hubbard with a false start, a few more penalties. I think there were 7 in total offensive penalties You can't have that. You know, a few of them took place in the red zone. We can't have that. You cannot have that. You know, still penalized too much. And there was some opportunities, man, even on defense where we could have let the Ravens back in the game. You know, think about that play that they threw to Mike Wallace down the sideline. Artie Burns gets spun around. You know, it's going to happen. You know, a corner is not going to make every play, but you got to take notice to that. Mike Wallace was open. He's unable to handle the ball. He should have caught it. J.J. Wilcox gets over there late to help knock the ball out. But that's a play that you got to look at. You know, Artie Burns got beat on that play. So there was a couple things, man, that still wasn't great about the game, even though the Steelers were able to get the win. I still feel like the offense is still not quite right. You know, we got the run game going, obviously, but we had to hand it off to Le'Veon Bell, who was it, 35 times? He gets 144 yards, so I'm happy to see that. Great blocking by the offensive line and Rosie Nix, Vance McDonald, guys like that doing their thing. Good to see that. Hubbard, you know, Finney, all of these dudes making key blocks. Juju, you know, but it's still, you know, that was a grind out game. That wasn't the offensive fluidity or efficiency that we'd want to see. You know, still a lot of times when we get, you know, on drives get stalled, you know, late in the game where there was a drive or two that we couldn't, you know, finish the game out. You know, Ben Roethlisberger misses Martavis Bryant down, you know, deep shot, has set that play up all game because we running. Get the look you want. Martavis Bryant is wide open, you know, has his guy beat by at least 5 yards, Ben overshoots it. Now, I will say, you know, an overthrow doesn't bother me as much as an underthrow, but come on, Ben, you got to hit those. You know what I mean? So that's 2 times in 2 consecutive weeks where there was a deep shot to Martavis Bryant, unable to come up with the catch. So little stuff like that, man. They're still not quite in perfect rhythm yet, but I think they're improving. So let me go through some of these drives, man, because what I basically did is, you know, I took note of some of the key drives. So what I think I'm going to start doing on this show, man, is talk about the first series and then go into like the second series, et cetera. Then I'll look at some key points of the game. So we'll do that both offensively and defensively. The first drive, okay, the Steelers start off very well, deep in our own territory. You know, we avoid a 3-and-out with a quick shovel pass, some, you know, improvisation by Big Ben, some ad-libbing going on there. Le'Veon Bell picks it up. Steelers pick up another 3rd down. So the 3rd down conversions were doing pretty good early on. You know, Watson gets the 1-yard pickup, and then Ben gets sacked on a corner blitz by Ladarius Webb. It looks like Bell and Alejandro, you know, Villanueva were picked up the same guy, and they left the guy free, so that happened there. Then there was a big run by James Conner. Huge block by Rosie Nix. That was a great play to keep that drive going. He picked up 20-something yards there, so love that. There was a play-action pass to Jesse James for 15 yards. Hubbard made a key block on that particular drive, and then Ben avoids a sack, throwing another shovel pass to Le'Veon Bell for 15 yards. And then we get 2 offensive penalties that killed the drive. You know, again, holding by DeCastro and a false start by Hubbard, which I believe held us to a field goal attempt. And I think we got that field goal, if I remember correctly. We went up by 3. So then if we flip over to the defensive side of the ball on the first series, the Steelers gave up a big gain on the first play. And it started looking like, okay, here we go. Very first play, we give up a huge run to Collins, I believe it was. You know, outside stretch, outside zone, whatever you want to call it. Same thing the Chicago Bears did, right? So you're looking at that and you're thinking, here we go again. But the Steelers were able to clamp down on that. Bud Dupree makes a nice tackle for loss on that particular drive, which pretty much killed that drive. And then Hayward deflects a pass by Flacco. And then almost got a pick on 3rd down, but they were unable to actually grab it. And then the Ravens pin the Steelers deep again on the next punt. All right, so we go back to the offense. So I'll just look at some of the key points in particular drives. Let's talk about that. So there was let's see, on the second series, Pouncey was called for blocking the back. And then there was a 3-and-out. Ben misses AB. And that's the play I was talking about. The AB throws a fit. Come on, you got to chill out on that because it's not like the play was going to him, you know. So I just didn't like the way he reacted to that. On the third offensive drive, We got the Ravens to jump off sides on a 3rd and 3, which was huge. Juju makes a nice catch on 3rd down to keep the drive going. Stupid penalty by Villanueva with the headbutt. Another offensive penalty, and that's pretty much, again, a personal foul on him. That cost us 15 yards. Ben misses Justin Hunter on a 3rd down, but Hunter probably could have made that catch. I mean, that was a dicey one. You could probably still make that catch, but Ben could probably throw a better ball there. So then again, we have to settle for another field goal. On the 4th offensive drive, there was a bad drop by Vance McDonald. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that drop was ridiculous. All right. Again, DeCastro gets a false start on that drive. And then, all the scoring play, the plays we're really pretty much running at this point is mostly run plays because the run game was working. The 5th offensive drive, there were 2 big catches by Martavis Bryant. And then the final, before the final drive of the half, and then touchdown throw to Juju. Great blocking by the offensive line. And I like the fact that Juju was able to, stay in sync with Big Ben, looking at the quarterback scrambling, Ben, directing traffic, hits Juju, and he goes in for the touchdown. So that was cool to see right there. All right, and then I cannot forget Boswell missing a field goal that could have pushed the lead to 22-3. At a particular point in the game. And then there's another notation I have. The Steelers go 3 and out after getting the ball with 13 or so minutes left in the game. And, you can't do that. You got to, at that point, you have to try to sustain the drive the best you can. And I believe on that same drive, if I'm not mistaken, that was the drive where Ben missed Martavis Bryant. If I'm not mistaken, it was at that point. If not, it was a little bit later, in the 4th quarter. But these are things that you have to do, and like I said, we had set that play up. We running the ball so effectively, and then the play is there, you overshoot them. So, it's just disappointing that there were times in the 4th quarter where the Steelers could have killed the game, milked the clock out, and they didn't, but luckily enough, the defense stepped up. So let's talk about some of the defensive plays, man. So once we get past the 1st drive, and I think I basically notated everything through the 5th drive, and then after that, I have some special notes. We'll talk about that, then we'll get up out of here. All right, so 2nd drive, there was a great play by Sean Davis to end the drive. A nice pass deflection, and it's right on cue. You guys remember in the last episode, I was saying who's somebody we haven't been hearing about from this, this season, and we really haven't heard a name so far early in the season. Well, Sean Davis has been relatively quiet. Sean Davis, in my opinion, played a great game in that game. He did what he was supposed to do. And again, making plays like that, it doesn't have to be 100 plays in a game. I just want these players to, at some point in the game, make a play where you can look at them and say, okay, that was key. That's what we needed from you. And he did a good job on that particular drive. All right, on 3rd down, here's the play I talked about earlier. Artie Burns gets beat on a 1st down, but Wallace is unable to catch the ball, drops it there. But that could have been huge for the Ravens, flipping the field. Might even have been a touchdown if you think about it. If Wallace catches it while he's fumbling it, he may be able to avoid Wilcox coming over. That's probably another long Mike Wallace touchdown against the Steelers in Baltimore, very similar to last year. So that was key. That drop hurt them right there. All right, Cam Hayward gets a huge sack on that drive, and that particular, instance kills that drive. On the 4th offensive possession for the Ravens, Shazier blows up a play, and Hayward forces the fumble on Collins, and Steelers get the ball back. That was huge. Shazier blows it up, gets in the backfield, spins Collins around, and then here comes Cam Hayward, sticks his hand in there, knocks the ball out, and we get the ball back. So those are the type of plays you want to see when we can make those happen. On the 5th drive, Stephon Tuitt, big stop on 3rd and 2, right before the 2-minute warning. Stephon Tuitt, let's talk about him real quick. Again, things might not jump right out at you, and it might jump, might not jump off of the stat sheet, but you can clearly see the difference with Stephon Tuitt back in that lineup. He was very disruptive, all over the place, beating his guy all day, causing cutbacks or, influencing pressure and things of that nature. You can see the defense really getting themselves back into a groove with having, Tuitt out there, as well as TJ Watt. I want to say TJ Watt as well, because TJ Watt, didn't have a dynamic game as far as stats, but he was disruptive. You think about the sack that Hayward got early on in the game, who was right over the top of Flacco, TJ Watt. So you can clearly see, again, the way I look at the football game, man, I don't always look at statistics. I look to see how guys are influencing the game. What are they doing with their man-to-man situation or their one-on-one matchup? Are they moving the pocket? Are they collapsing the pocket? Are they getting blown off of the line of scrimmage? I look at all of that stuff. And TJ Watt and Stephon Tuitt made a big difference in that ball game. All right, here's a couple other things I wanted to talk about, guys, and then we should be pretty much done. Great defense after the weird turnover. And I said, however, Perriman was wide open on the first down play, and it was a big sack by Mike Hilton. I wanted to talk about that. Again, more opportunities for the Ravens down in their own territory, in our territory. Perriman was wide open. Flacco misses him. He has to do like this spinning turnaround catch, which, people can make that catch, but Flacco puts it on him right, easy touchdown. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the same drive when they were able to get the touchdown to Mike Wallace. But what I did notice on that play, and what I'm noticing about our defense in particular, are you noticing, guys, the secondary, now we're playing a lot closer to the ball. What I mean by that is even on times when we're beaten, there's going to be situations where guys are wide open. That happens to every team. But most of these plays that you saw the Ravens convert, even on that touchdown, we're right there. Joe Hayden was right there, swiped at the ball, couldn't get it. Mike Hilton is usually very close to his guy. And we're going to talk about Mike Hilton in a moment. Shazier was very close to Watson on a lot of those, passes. I believe there were 2 attempts that they threw to Watson, and, Shazier is right there. And there was one also where Sean Davis is right there. They limit the gain. They make the catch. They catch, tackle the catch, so to speak. But they were almost in position to knock the ball out. And that's all you can ask from your defense. If they can't make a play, at least be right there. And our secondary seems to be coming together where guys are not necessarily out of position as much as they were last year. Now, speaking of those 2 guys, while I'm thinking about it, Ryan Shazier and Mike Hilton played a ball game. Shazier was all over the field. I believe he had 11 tackles or so, an interception, a tip pass to get Mike Hilton his interception. When Shazier is healthy and he's doing what he's supposed to as far as filling his gap and making tackles, this dude is a dynamic linebacker. I mean, this is a guy that could really make a difference for this team if he can stay healthy and stay disciplined. He's showing it to us. We've seen flashes of this in years past. Remember that game a couple years ago against the 49ers? We've seen what Ryan Shazier can do. And in this game against the Ravens, he was everywhere. And he didn't miss any tackles from what I remember. Everywhere. Right there, just this close to making a pass deflection and then finally getting the interception. And, I'm hearing that they said Shazier is a film guy. I didn't know that about him. They said this dude is first guy in, last guy out. He watches and studies film, and you could kind of see it on that interception that he got. And then also, when they were in cover 3, when Flacco tried to fit it into what's the guy's name? Caponero, I think his name is. And Shazier leaps up, bats the ball down. Hilton makes a nice one-handed, tip to himself, recovers it. That's what I'm talking about, man. And let's talk about Mike Hilton real quick, because I see I'm running out of time here, but let me speed this up a bit. Mike Hilton, isn't it funny that we draft a guy from Ole Miss that we're waiting to be our slot corner? And there's a guy named Mike Hilton that's his teammate that goes undrafted. Who would have thought, you fast forward to now, that Mike Hilton would be on the team contributing, basically a starter, playing out of his mind, giving us that added piece that we need, even with the blitz game. And we're blitzing him a lot. And it's not Sinquez Golson. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy how things work out like that. I'm really loving what I see from Mike Hilton. I don't know if he's a finished product or not. I doubt that. Excuse that noise right there, guys. I doubt that he's a finished product. But what I love about this guy, man, even if you just watch him in interviews, he's about football. He's just happy to be there. all he's smiling, he's energetic, and you can tell the way he plays, he is about playing. You know what I'm saying? Always around the ball, sticking his nose in. This dude is a baller. I really like Mike Hilton, and it's crazy because some of us noticed that in preseason, and this dude has turned out to be exactly what we hoped for him to be. It's amazing to see that, man. So let me see what else I got here, guys. That's probably all I have. Let's see. We did give up another big run when we missed our field goal. So, they didn't rush for over 100 yards, if I remember correctly, but we still got to, eliminate or minimize the big runs like that. I mean, it's going to happen, guys. It's the NFL. But I think we did a much better job. We responded the way I wanted them to respond after taking an L against Chicago, against a division rival in Baltimore. That very much impressed me. For a game that we played that wasn't nowhere close to being perfect, to see that they still could win in the fashion that they did, that's very, very encouraging. What you could take away from this game is the defense is definitely improving. The offense is starting to get somewhat of a rhythm, at least in the run game, and that the offense is going to get better. You just have to believe that with the weapons they have, and the wide receivers. You have to believe that Ben is going to get back in rhythm. The Steelers could be something, man. We'll see. It's still early. Jacksonville is going to be a test against these guys. I'll be doing my pregame this week. But very encouraging seeing what we have to offer right now. I think that's all I have, guys. Last note I had, Mike Hilton and Ryan Shazier close out the Ravens drive late with 6 minutes to go in the game. So thoroughly impressed, man, with what the performance we did, what we put up, what we put on film. Really enjoy that. So let me just take a look and see what a couple of you guys are saying. I got maybe 2 minutes left, if that. Let's see. Lana B said Juju on that beat. Yeah, let me speak about that real quick. I see some people complaining about Eli Rogers being inactive. Listen, I think we could have seen this a mile away. Juju Smith-Schuster is probably going to be challenging Eli Rogers, if not already, to be the slot receiver at some point. I think Mike Tomlin explained today, listen, we sat him down for a week. He explained to Rodgers that it's not a demotion. Just maybe take a week off to reassess, recalibrate, et cetera, after fumbling the punt away. And I don't have a problem with them shuffling guys for matchups. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be a bigger matchup problem in the slot than Eli Rogers. I don't have a problem with that at all. But it's just kind of funny for me. I see a guy, online, on Twitter, he's complaining, blah, blah, blah. How do you complain about him not playing after we get a win in Baltimore and Juju has a good game? I just don't understand that, but it is what it is. You said Artie Burns is playing good. Yeah, Artie's playing well. I mean, listen, all corners get beat. Richard Sherman gets beat. Patrick Peterson gets beat. It's just things to keep an eye on, just things to keep an eye on. I think Artie Burns is playing very well. I definitely think that Joe Hayden also is coming along. I think we're going to be, a defense to reckon with, man, as we continue to go through this. Ryan had an amazing game as well. Proud of the whole D, especially Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward is just a boss. I ain't even really need to talk about Cam. Is him and Stephon Tuitt. They could definitely be. I'm not being biased here. You could easily say they could be one of the best 2 tandems at the end spot when healthy. Those dudes are just men. Wilcox and Davis play good together. Hey, that's something that I noticed as well. Let's keep an eye on that. Obviously, we know Mike Mitchell is probably going to come back. I'm liking Wilcox, man. What I'm really liking about the Steelers defense is look how young we're getting. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm really loving that. Let's see. I'll look at the last couple things here, guys. Then I gotta go. I really had to have 4 minutes literally before I'm due back into work. Juju is going to go off this week, a la the Seahawks Marcus Wheaton career game. Let's keep an eye on that. Marcus Wheaton put up 200 yards against Seattle. Le'Veon Bell had a big breakout game too. Yeah, that goes without saying. Le'Veon Bell, what a horse. What a beast. And he's back. It's safe to say he's back. I don't know if I want him to run the ball that much. I want to still spread the wealth a little bit. But hey, A win is a win. You can't complain with that. And the last thing here I would say is I agree. Juju is the pedigree player. They didn't draft him that day to watch. Absolutely. This one guy, Pitt Steelers 412 says Kareem Hunt is better than Le'Veon. Let me close the show out with this. How do you guys come up with these things? What makes Kareem Hunt better than Le'Veon Bell already? Just because we're seeing him do well? Same thing people were saying about Ezekiel Elliott last year. Oh, he's better. Why? Just because he's doing good the same way Le'Veon Bell has done? I don't get that. I don't get that. You know, I just at first glance, I don't think there's any running back at the moment that I would say is better than Le'Veon as far as his, you know, everything that he can do out of the backfield. You know, I think Le'Veon Bell is probably one of the best receiving backs. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on Kareem Hunt already to say he's better. That's crazy talk in my opinion, but I don't know. Okay. My fault. He said he's tired of hearing people say that. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't get that. Just because he has a couple good games. I mean, Le'Veon Bell rushed. Let's not forget, Le'Veon Bell just ran for 144 yards against the Baltimore Ravens front. So I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, that's the show, guys. I got 2 minutes to clock back into work. I know you guys don't want me to mess around and lose a job over as Steelers. The Steelers don't pay me, unfortunately. But that's it, man. I appreciate you guys coming through. I'm going to try to get these live shows for y'all more often. Hey, thank you guys for coming by. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Cut your notifications on so you are aware when new videos are coming. And I promise it'll never hurt you to hit that like button. And stay tuned, guys, as far as you Steelers fans. Friday, I will be doing my pregame in terms of, you know, what I think we need to do against the Jaguars, et cetera, to get that win. All right, guys, before I get out of here, I will swing the towel. It is Terrible Towel Tuesday. I guess I need to start doing this at the end of each episode. And we'll see you next week, or Friday. My bad. We'll see you Friday for the pregame. And that's it. All right, guys, y'all be easy. Catch you guys later. Peace.